Welcome, and hope you've got your seat belts on and you're ready to rock and roll because we've got lots to go over and cover, and hopefully we can move forward together in a much more proactive way after our meeting today. We want to kind of talk about a regional health score, and in reality, let's see, is it messed up again?
Yes.
Yeah, you've got another box on top of the full screen.
Oh, that's weird. Let's see. Does that look
There you
better?
go. There you go.
Okay. Not sure how that popped in there, but okay. So the last 5 weeks with a regional health score, this is the encouraging part of the story, my friends. When we look at submitted business over the last 5 weeks and factor in the investment we're making in appointments and recruiting, every region is trending profitable. And you can see by region the number of appointments each region has received over the last 5 weeks. You can see the appointment cost. Isn't that amazing how much Affordus spends in real dollars to provide appointments for each of our regions? It's mind-blowing. Could you imagine, Rick, coming out of your own pocket, the costs for these appointments to feed your people? The appointments, I can't imagine it. Brad, almost 10,000. Myself, 15,000 plus. Jason, almost 8. Um, it just, what a wonderful thing. Ruth Erdman, Affordus has spent over $12,000 over the last 5 weeks to provide appointments. Just think that's so wonderfully terrific, especially because it doesn't have to come out of our own pocket. Now, though, we can see the recruitment costs. Oh boy, let's see. You can see the recruiting costs for
Can
each
you
region.
scroll it up?
That's all the way down the bottom.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
But then you can see the submitted business, and that's pretty impressive over the last 5 weeks. Okay. So all regions are in profitability based on the submitted business. But as we all know, that's not exactly where the rubber hits the road, right? It's one thing to get the submitted business. And by the way, congratulations. Because of the submitted business, you are all in profitability. And that tells us that this opportunity is real, right? We have the people, the activity, and the potential. The system is generating enough business to win. Whoop, whoop, right? So that's exciting. And what's also kind of fun to see is those regions that have the largest number of appointments on a monthly basis, or well, over the last 5 weeks, are those regions that have the highest production of submitted business. So if I'm looking at this, I'm saying, gosh, I'd like to get into the realm of some of these other regional managers that are having great submitted business over the last 5 weeks. It's just really a matter of how many agents can you get up and running and fruitful, right? Fruitful. The more you can, the better off you are. Now, there's some superstars here. Look at Michael Gibbons, right? Over the last 5 weeks, only 68 appointments out to his people, but he's still submitted 61,000 points. Man, okay, that's awesome. Look at others like Brad Bishop with only 97, still 35,000 submitted. Really, really cool. Look at Matt Schmidt, only 9 appointments in his region over the last 5 weeks, but still 33,000 points submitted. That's pretty good. That's highfalutin tootin'. Now, what though if he could just get more agents on appointments, right? What if we all could do that? Look at how exponentially more we could do. Ruth with 147 appointments over the last 5 weeks, 84,000 submitted in business. So cool. Tana Machete, 21,000 with only 34 appointments. So, hey, no doubt about it. Now the question becomes, though, how do we consistently turn business into paid business? How do we turn submitted business into paid business? That's where leadership, consistency, and alignment become critical. Okay, let me say that again. That's where leadership, alignment, and consistency become critical because look at here now. Here's our health score with issue paid business over the same 5 weeks. Okay. So now there are a few regions that are out of profitability because they had a bunch submitted, but didn't quite have enough to go issue paid over the last 5 weeks. Congratulations to those that are in. And you can see that some are very, very close. But over the last 5 weeks, we just got to have business go issue paid. Now, this might not be completely up to date and totally telling the truth about what's been happening. I would go so far as to say, someone like a Rick Thomas probably didn't have nothing paid out over the last 5 weeks in his region. So maybe these numbers aren't totally true to form. And probably Sue Ferber didn't necessarily have nothing go issue paid. There, of course, could be chargebacks that are causing, a zero a number there. But remember, over the last 5 weeks, someone like, let's go back to that last one real quick. You can see here, for instance, just looking at Matt Schmidt, 33,000 has been submitted over the last 5 weeks. But if you look at the next page, only $10 is paid out in issue paid, right? So we've got to be doing better at pushing that stuff through. So that's our health score issue paid. This is where the challenge begins, right? While submitted business shows strong potential, yes, issue paid tells us we're leaving too much on the table. Some regions are healthy, while others are not. And this isn't about finger pointing. No, I just wanted to point out it's about recognizing that inconsistency is causing all of us income. You could take a look at my region or Ruth's region, not 5 weeks ago, but 10 weeks ago. And we could have been the regions that were at zero, right? Had the goose egg. It's just a matter of being consistent. And unfortunately, this is what the numbers show for the last 5 weeks. When every region follows a different process, we get different results. So I would submit to you that looking at this, if I were a region that maybe is in pink and it says out, maybe look at some of those other regions and try to see what are they doing, right? That's allowing them to be in. And that maybe I could incorporate. And hopefully some of that is just following more of the system. The purpose of today's meeting is to eliminate that inconsistency by becoming aligned around one vision, one system, and one standard. We can improve our issue paid numbers, strengthen every region, and ultimately increase everyone's income. Remember, this chart right here you're looking at, you guys, it's not your profit and loss statement. It's a focused health score designed to show us where we are at and where we need to go. Okay. Where we need to improve operationally so we can become stronger together. Everybody more or less is profitable. That's great. But over the last 5 weeks, gosh, we've had a lot of business submitted and some of us has very little of it to go issue paid. Now there's any number of reasons for that, of course. But let's try and be in formation. So let's talk through about the Affordus operating system. It's much more, than a collection of tools or processes. It is the framework, though, that aligns every agent around one proven way of building a business. If we all commit to the same system, we become duplicatable, scalable, and predictable. Alignment is what will increase incomes across every region, just as we align with our system and try our best to run that system the way that the successful regions do. Really makes me think about McDonald's, right? McDonald's just has an alignment. I can go to a McDonald's, and I did. When McDonald's opened up in Moscow, Russia, I was in that line those very first days when McDonald's opened up in Russia. And I could not believe the hamburgers tasted the very same in Russia as they did in my hometown of Phoenix, Arizona, and later in Utah. And anytime I would get a hamburger, no matter what state I was in, those French fries and those hamburgers tasted exactly the same in freaking Moscow, Russia. How is that possible? Well, it's because they have a system and they're running that system the same way. Did they get the same potatoes in Moscow that they have in Utah or Arizona? I don't know. They might have shipped them in. I don't know. But what they did was they cut them the same. They seasoned them the same. The same with the hamburgers. That dadgum cheeseburger tasted exactly the same. And let me tell you, I ate in many restaurants and in many families' homes in Russia. And that food don't taste the same as it does in Utah. It don't taste the same as it did in Arizona or anywhere else in America. It tastes like Russian food. But the McDonald's tasted the very same as it did in any place in America, as well as I've had McDonald's in Germany. I've had McDonald's in Finland. I've had McDonald's in California. They're all the same. And that's why they're the number one business for income in America. That's why they're successful, because they all fly in formation and we can trust it. And let me tell you, if we can, to a certain degree, fly in that same formation, Fortis will knock the socks off of this industry. It is the framework that aligns every regional manager, every leader, and every agent around one proven way of building a business. If we all commit to the same system, we become duplicatable, scalable, and predictable. Alignment is what will increase incomes across every region. And what does that really make me think of? We talk about it a lot, not just on our Fortis TV, and probably not just in your regions, and not just on the masterclass on Wednesday. We talk about 10. We could whittle down our system really down to one main thing. Those agents that are running 10 first appointments on a weekly basis, they're the ones that are winning. We just need to have more of them in our regions. We need to have more of them taking advantage of the Fortis appointments and confirming properly. We need to have more of them running first presentations to get the best result, which is just to get a second set. We need to have more of our agents trained by good, solid trainers that know how to run a second and can pick up an application. More of that, more success we'll have. But it all starts down with the common denominator of getting in front of 10 a week. There's no way on earth that the top 10 producers in our company are there and they're only running 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 firsts on a weekly basis. It's just not happening. You're giving yourself hopium, which is a more tactical word versus you are giving yourself the real drug. You're giving yourself hopium. And what does the real drug do to you? What drug am I referring to? When I say hopium, I'm probably referring to any drug.
Heroin coming from opium
That's
poppy
probably,
seeds.
yes. It does the same thing to you. Heroin will destroy you, my friends. I can only imagine. And I can only imagine because I have a hard enough problem with just caffeine, right? Because I've got to have my daily dose of caffeine on a weekly, my Coke. I know that's destroying me in certain aspects. I can only imagine what heroin would do to you. But we have the same problem mentally with hopium, thinking that, hey, I got my 2 appointments this week. Yes, I'm going to write business. Yeah, no, you're giving yourself hopium. You are killing yourself because you are relying on the 4, 5, 10 first appointments that a Fortis gives you. If you're lucky enough to get those, because you got enough states and you're in good enough IPSI, you get your 10 first appointments. And then you think you're going to run 10 appointments. No, you get 10, you'll probably be lucky to run 6 or 7 firsts. That's the nature of the beast. And then you'll be lucky if 3 or 4 of those schedule seconds, and you'll be very lucky if 1 or 2 of them stick and you write 1 case on a weekly basis. That's hopium. And that is absolutely killing you, just as heroin does in the real world. So how do you get away from hopium? You pull yourself up by the bootstraps and you say, come heck or high water, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get in front of 10 people. I'll take my 7, 8, 9, 10 Fortis appointments. I'll add to that a couple warm markets. I'll add to that a couple friendship farming that I've done during the week. I'll add to that a couple referrals. I'll add to that a couple annual reviews that get me into more people, right? I'll add to that some B leads that I'm prospecting or I'm paying an assistant to prospect for. That's pennies on the dollar to get in front of B leads, my friends. How many of us are doing all that we can to get in front of 10? I think Ruth probably has a good comment here. Ruth, hit us. What you got?
Well, Ruth and her team happen to be at a largest truck stop in Iowa right now, getting a crap ton of hot leads as we speak. That's where we are. So my whole region is here, and we are meeting people. We're helping them, and we have found so much money today. So many business owners that are excited to work with us. It's been very, very. It was a wise move to come down here, so I recommend it.
I love it. Are you at a Buc-ee's by chance? Or what kind of
No,
truck stop is it?
This is a TA. It's the largest truck stop in the
Yeah.
nation. In the world's largest truck stop is here.
That's
We've
right.
met owner operators. We've met individuals. We've met families. We've met farmers. We found all kinds of money. We found all kinds of IUL prospects. We have our retirement banner here. It's pretty exciting. So we're sweating our fanny off, but it's pretty fun.
Ruth, I'm so excited to hear that. Way to go. Way to go, Erdman team. Love it.
Rockets. Woo-hoo.
Well done. Thank you for sharing that. That's so inspiring. Well, very good. Okay, so let's increase your income, right? What we're about to discuss can help make that happen. So let's jump into this. The entire presentation comes down to one goal. This entire presentation comes down to one goal. It's just increasing your income. The only way we can accomplish this is by working from the same playbook. When every leader follows the same system, we create faster growth, stronger leaders, and better results for everyone. So let's do this together. Now, the current reality is it takes about 62 days to onboard agents. We're kind of using different systems. Each region is doing a little bit of a different system. Each regional manager, of course, has different personalities. My personality is a little bit different than Rick, although I think we're pretty well in alignment. But I think my personality and Rick's personality is much different than maybe a Robert or a Sue or a Tana, and certainly a Ruth. But we need to have one common denominator, right? And that one common denominator is what's driving people to success. And so let's talk about that for a little bit. Let's be honest about where we are today. Waiting 62 days to get a new recruit on appointments is unacceptable. And I'm part and parcel a problem to that. I mean, I'll do an orientation as soon as I can get an agent on, to do orientation. But then I do that orientation, and a lot of times I just leave it up to them now to move forward. Okay, I've laid the ground rules. I've told them what they've got to do next. And then I'm just kind of, text me when you've got your training cell ready to go, or send that first presentation video over to me. And that's not cutting it, my friends. Unfortunately, that's not cutting it. We've got to be a little bit more proactive, a little bit more hands-on. As leaders, we need to understand where our bread is buttered. And the bread is buttered in the follow-up. With those agents. Hey, how'd it go this week? How'd it go over the last couple of days? We talked about this on Monday. Today's Wednesday. What have you done? Where are we at? How can I help you move forward? Right? But you would think Heath, cannot handle a region of 50 agents and do that with each of them. And guess what? I can't. But guess what? I have a Chantra V, who's a district coordinator. I have a Michael Trussell. I have a Jesse Thompson. I have a Kago, right? That are district coordinators. They can handle 5 to 10. Now, as long as they're just duplicating what hopefully I'm doing with my 5 or 10, then this region can explode. If you think how tight in alignment my district coordinators might be to me, and at one point Rick was a district coordinator in my region, so was Sue, right? So was Robert, so was Matt. But have you ever played the telephone game? As you move away and you kind of get on your own and you start having your own thoughts and thinkings, you start to do things differently. And we've got to stay in alignment. with what will allow us to be the most successful. So let's talk about that. Every week, delayed costs income, delayed costs momentum, and delayed costs future leaders. Speed matters. Alignment allows us to move faster because everyone knows exactly what to do. If we reduce delays and follow one system, we create more success for every region. And hey, I want to have more success. I want to have some profit shares to be sharing around. I want to have some fun with this thing. So let's have one vision. Everyone knows where we're going. One system. Everyone teaches the same process. One standard. Everyone is held to the same expectations. This isn't just a slogan, though, right? Not just a slogan. It's our commitment. Every leader has to decide whether they're going to help build one of Fortis or continue building individual systems. If you continue to build an individual system, your region will struggle. And you probably won't be able to taste the fruits of success, at least as not as well as you could. And then unfortunately, you will probably be one of those who move on to something different again, and again. How many difference have you been a part of over the last 10 years? Too many. Listen, my friends, here's a very resounding truth. If one person can run a system and have great success in it, you can too. Yeah, you can too. If Rick can have a modicum level of success, if Ruth can have a modicum level of success, and they're two completely different people. No, Ruth is not like Rick, and Rick is not like Ruth. Not at all. Not even close. And yet both of them can have a great level of success, right? Because they're running in formation to a certain degree. To a certain degree. Now, I would suggest that Brett would say that all of us are out of whack, right? And all of us fall short of running the system, which is the tried and true system that he has run over a career, right? That has allowed him to, in some years, make $1 million a year. And that's why he's where he's at right now, because he has run systems. He knows how to run systems. He's trying his best to get us to run those systems so that we can taste the fruits of what he has tasted as he's run a system. That's why he's made millions and millions and millions over his career. And so he knows where the bear goes poo-poo in the forest. He's just trying to tell us to do the same, right? He's trying to lead us to the promised land. You can do it. If one can do it, if 5 can do it, if 10 can do it, you can do it. But we improve our company numbers only when every regional manager commits to the same vision. The fact that if you go back to those numbers of those that are profitable with issue paid business, I think of the, 12 to 13, 14 regions, there was probably 6 or 7 that were profitable. They're polling the other 6 or 7 that aren't profitable. And again, that's just a small snapshot of a 5-week period of time. And in other 5 weeks, it's a different group of 6 or 7, right, that are pulling us to the promised land. But if we could just all fly in formation every week, every 5 weeks, have all of us having plenty going issue paid, then you would be amazed what the profit share could be like here. So all that we can do is understand this. We manufacture regional managers. Insurance is the vehicle. Leadership is the product. Now, some of you are really good at writing business and really poopy on leading and downloading that knowledge to others. We got to get better. We got to get better. If we're a good leader, it's tough to be a good leader, right? If you're not writing business, if you're not leading from the front. So number one, you don't become a district coordinator anyways, let alone a regional manager. If you haven't written business, you have to write 30,000 points that go issue paid to even become a district coordinator. So we know you can write the business. Now it's just downloading that expertise into one, and then 5, and then 10, and then 50 other agents, and you can duplicate that. But that's through leadership. That's our product. Our business isn't simply selling insurance. Our business is developing leaders who can duplicate success. Every decision we make should move someone closer to becoming a regional manager who can lead others through the exact same process. Now, we've got several meetings during the week, a Fortis TV, masterclass on Wednesday, your own regional huddles. That's 3 meetings a week where your raw material in your region can learn more about how to be a leader. 3 meetings a week. Not to mention the most important and best meeting of the week, which is Saturdays with Rick, right? That's the best meeting for you to be in to learn how to be a leader. Rick doesn't talk about product there. Very rarely does he talk about sales, but he talks about sales in a leadership mentality. This is what you must learn. You've got to download this stuff. You've got to become better. And participating in those 4 meetings, you as the regional manager do not have to be the end all be all for all of your people. I don't have to be constantly talking to Chanter V on a daily basis, or Michael Trussell, or Jesse Thompson, or Kago, because they've got 4 other meetings on a weekly basis where Brett on Monday can download into their mind how to be a better leader, how to be a better producer. Where Rick on Saturday can download into their mind how to be a better leader. Where Heath on Wednesday can download into their mind how to be better. Where your regional meetings each week, you can now personalize that information to your regional members. But guess what? There's an unfortunate truth. Unfortunate truth. Are you ready for it? The unfortunate truth is if you ain't producing, you ain't going to have nobody in your region producing. I promise you that. It's just human nature. It's just absolutely human nature. And unfortunately, we see it in every aspect of our life. You're not going to follow someone that's not producing. So if you as a regional manager or a district coordinator aren't producing, your district's not going to want you to close for them. If you're a regional manager, your people will not want to be a part of that organization. You have got to be producing. You have got to show, you did it already. You've done it many times before. You've got to be consistent. And those that are consistently producing or have leadership in their region that is producing, I don't know. I'm thinking back. Over the last 25 years or so that I've been with Brett, I can't think of a time where Brett wasn't in the top 10 in personal production. He might not have been number 1, but I can't remember a time when Brett wasn't in the top 10 and top 5 for that matter. But that's why his regions were always the top regions, because he'd have 3 or 4 district coordinators in his region that were also top producers in the company. So Brett didn't have to rely on constantly banging out the production. He didn't have to because he had plenty of income coming in, but he did it because he knew the principle of if you're not leading from the front with your own pen, your people aren't going to follow you. Now, I can tell you this right now. I know for a certainty that if I wasn't producing, I'd have a really hard time getting any of my people to follow me. Why? Why should they? Why would they? Why would they even want to produce? Why would they even want to run appointments? If I can't close for them as a trainer, I mean, shoot, it's over. It's over. If a Noel Adams, one of our greatest up and coming producers, didn't see production being done, or an Austin Mertz didn't see production being done and business going issue paid on the other end, or Douglas Lackey. These are 3 great up and coming agents in my region that I'm personally training as a trainer. If they didn't see that we're submitting business and that business is going issue paid, they would say, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm gone. I'm out of here. And if they don't say I'm out of here, they would be an idiot. Why would you come to a company where you can't get the support to win? Why would you stay? No, they would be gone. And all too often, our people are gone because they don't have leaders that are leading them, that are helping them to produce. They don't have district coordinators that are guiding them to the promised land, that are helping them to produce. Listen, if you're a district coordinator, you know how to write business. You've done it. But if you aren't fighting like the Dickens, and you aren't training, and you aren't trying to improve yourself so that you can write more business, and you're not getting in front of more people on a weekly basis, you are missing the boat. Because as a district coordinator, you are so dang close to being a regional manager. It's crazy that you aren't there within 1 or 2 months after being a district coordinator. It's just a matter of you getting out, rounding up your troops, getting production submitted, and pull them up. And then you just duplicate that on a higher scale as a regional manager. Okay, so we've got to just understand our system. Now, the Fortis ladder, you're an opener, then a closer, then a trainer, then a DC, then an RM. Stop thinking about promotions as separate milestones. Think of them as one continuous manufacturing process, right? Every step prepares someone for the next level. You can't be a trainer if you're not a closer. And what you learn as a closer, you then can be a trainer because now you can pass that information on to someone who you're training as a trainer. And then you very quickly become a district coordinator and you just get better at it. You just help more. As a trainer, you might get 1 or 2 agents to train. Like Jesse. Jesse Thompson has 1 agent that he's training. But it would be nice to have more raw material. More raw material means more agents to train, and you'll get them if you become a district coordinator, which means you have 30,000 that goes you paid. I know you can produce. And so now I just need to see, can you help others to produce? And that's why we give you the district coordinator position, so you can show that you can help others to produce. And then boom, a Fortis will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on you as an RM, providing you agents and appointments for those agents and for you, which you override, which helps you to make a lot more money. So every step prepares someone for the next level. And our responsibility is to keep that process consistent across every region. So as a regional manager, Sue Ferber, she should have a few openers. She should have a few closers. She should have a few trainers. She should have a few DCs because she's a DC or a regional manager factory now. If you're a regional manager, you are a regional manager factory. And if you don't have, a few in each of these positions, then you've got a busted belt in your factory, right? Right. You've got product shooting off your chute into the garbage heap. You got to turn that chute around into proper alignment, yeah, so that the cornmeal is not getting wasted on the dust. Or not being dusted off into the concrete floor. Instead, that cornmeal is going into the chute where water and sugar is trickling down to it, right? And then it gets put into that little compactor, right? That puts them into a little cupcakes formation. And then it goes through a little icing formation chute. And then out the other end, oh, you've got a corn fritter. You got a corn fritter, not just a piece of corn that went in the other end. Too many of us get corn going in the other end, and the corn dust gets scattered all over your dang factory floor. And none of it gets through the chute that drips on the little water, and then gets a little compactment, and then drips a little icing, and then it comes out the other end as a corn fritter. No. But isn't that exactly what we're trying to do as regional managers? You're a factory. You've got chutes going. Are your chutes in alignment? And are your chutes producing the desired effect, the desired result? And if it's not, let's just get consistent, right? In what the ladder is and why we have such a ladder. So really there's let's look at it as a 4-month assembly line. Week one, you onboard your folks. You explain to them our system. You observe what they're doing, right? You observe their first presentation. They hopefully get their first sale with that training sale within that first week or two. Now, that might take 2 weeks just because you got to get appointed with F&G, but that's okay. But within week 2 and 4, now you're an opener, right? Week 2 or 4, you're an opener. You're getting 5 to 10 appointments from a Fortis. And now you've got 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, a month, for heaven's sakes, to see a whole bunch of these seconds that get closed by yourself or, well, in this case, really a trainer before you can become a closer. So now by week 5 and 8, 2 months out, you're a closer. That's terrific. But then, hey, fine tune it as a closer. You're going to go through some hiccups, but then you become a trainer within 12 weeks. And then, very shortly thereafter, a district coordinator. And now you're probably working with 5 to 10 other agents. And then, dadgummit, by week 17 or so, you very easily could be an ARM, a regional manager. That's a big deal. But that is the assembly line. Somewhere along, take a look at your region, see where we're missing the boat, see where your chutes are off alignment and your cornmeal is getting wasted on the concrete floor. So we need to have one standard experience. The same first presentation. And by the way, there's no ambiguity on the first presentation. The FNA has the first presentation. It has all kinds of great little doodads on the right-hand side of the FNA. If you like to share other concepts, that's perfectly fine. If you feel good about sharing the concepts of the 4 pillars, go for it. It's in the FNA. But here's the bottom line. If your first presentations are not netting you the results of second presentations, you're probably spending way too much time talking about way too many things that are way too unimportant. You've got to get good at just getting to the nitty-gritty. The nitty-gritty is you need help. You've got a gap problem. Let's fix the gap. What's one way to fix the gap? Improve those last 2 pillars. Improve using an index strategy option. How many of our teachers and university professors are using an index strategy? None. You have 100% of them that are not using the one thing that's going to help them the most to overcome the gap. 100% of them. Not all of them are using it. And so if you can just help a modicum level of them catch the vision of, hey, I've got Social Security, I've got a pension, but that's not going to give me enough. I want help. I need help to make sure I got enough. Those 401ks and 403s, they're usually not being matched. And so I need something better. Oh, how about that index strategy you talked about that can help me win the battle over inflation and taxation? Ooh, that sounds pretty good. I mean, come on, it's not rocket science. It's too dang simple, but we give too much. You just keep it simple. Hey, you want to fix that gap? Let's fix the gap. Let's use the 3rd pillar. Let's use the 4th pillar. You're not using the 4th pillar at all, right? The index strategy option. Let's get on a Zoom. I'll walk you through it. And so we take all of that stuff together to get you 100% of what you need to retire comfortably. You guys, it's simple. It's so dang simple, right? Now, is everyone going to catch the vision you want them to catch? No. But that's why you can't run just 3 or 4 appointments a week. That's why you can't do that. Because if you run 3 or 4, all 4 of them are going to say, no, thanks, I'm good. Yeah, they will. But if you run 7 or 8, you might get 1 or 2 that says, oh, I like that. I need some help with that. You might get 1 that sticks for a second. What's the likelihood of that 1 second that sticks actually writing business with? Well, I mean, we do a good job closing, about 70% as a company, but you need 10 so that you have 5 or 6, 7 or 8 first that you actually give. You need to have 10 that you actually give. So you've got to make sure you've got 12 to 14 first on the calendar from all those different categories so that then you actually do talk to at least 10 on a weekly basis so that you then at least do schedule 7 or 8 seconds, which then you'll probably see 4 or 5 and you'll write 2 or 3. Yeah, that's the law of the averages that you want to have working for you. Okay, that's what you need to do. So we want to run the same first, run the same seconds. We want to use the same academy. We want to run the same meetings. All of that stuff will help you to win. Each new agent deserves the exact same opportunities to succeed, regardless of which region they join. That means they want to have the same scripts, which they do, the same presentations, hopefully they do, the same academy training, for sure they do, the same coaching, the same expectations. That should be easy. Consistency is what creates duplication. Okay. So we just got to get better. Now, leadership over production, right? Production becomes the fuel, but duplicating that becomes the mission. Production is the outcome, not the objection, the objective. Our objective is to build leaders who can produce leaders. When we focus on developing people instead of chasing numbers, the production follows naturally. Now, I'm not saying that you as a leader should not chase the numbers. You must. You as a leader must chase the numbers. You must, because your people won't follow you if you're not. But if you will, then you'll have more that will follow you, and you'll have the opportunity. Yeah, you'll have the chance to maybe somehow, some way mold someone into a leadership position with you. But it ain't going to happen at all if you're not leading from the front with your own pen. I hope you can catch the vision of that. Production becomes the fuel, but duplication becomes the mission. In other words, what's your overall goal? Well, I want to produce an area. I want to have 10 regions in my area. How are you going to do that? It starts with you producing and then downloading that information to the next guy who sees your production and says, oh my gosh, Ruth made $100,000 last month. Well, I want that too. I want that too. So I'll do whatever Ruth is doing. But if your agent sees you with no production at all, not even close to the top 10 in the leaders, not even close on the 25 heading towards the company cruise or the company big event at the end of each year, if they don't see you anywhere on there, it's over. It's not even close to over. It's way over. It's not even in the realm of possibility, my friends. It's not going to happen. You are using hopium, which is eroding your mind to think that you are RM, and just simply because you're an RM, you're going to have people that will follow you. Not a chance. Now, maybe some ding dong would. Maybe some ding dong who just, because you got edified by somebody that said, oh, this guy's pretty good. But if that person sees nothing from you by way of production, it's over. Stop fooling yourself that you can build a region or build a company or build a business, build an agency if you aren't kicking butt in production. Get the freak out of it. Get the freak into production and go have some fun. And you start with making sure that your calendar has more than 10 firsts scheduled on a weekly basis. And then you just go produce. Go do it. Go get it done. It's not rocket science. You just got to do it. You've done it before. Keep cranking. Okay. Now, we're no longer in the insurance business. We're in the business of manufacturing successful regional managers. When new agents produce quickly, they become confident enough to lead others. And that creates the cycle that grows the company. So you've got to be very quick. I am remiss on this. I should have Noel, Austin Mertz, Doug Lackey. I should have them all ready to a district coordinator. They've been with us long enough. They should be there. I'm remiss in that. I can think of many others, but you've just got to run the numbers. And then you as a leader help to push that stuff through, push them through to the next level, right? Someone who can produce and could be a trainer needs to be a trainer, and you need to give them raw material to work with. So once they can produce, now you get them to lead, right? Have them start leading even before they're ready. Let's just see if you can lead. Let's just see if you can help another agent to produce. And if you can, then I'm going to give you more. I'm going to give you more. That's why Chantra V has 10 agents she's working with, because she can produce. She's on the leaders bulletin every week with consistent production. That's why Fortis is willing to give Rick as many agents and Ruth as many agents, because they produce and they're consistently producing on a weekly basis. If you don't get a whole lot of agents to work with, it's because you can't produce. You're not producing. Why would a Fortis spend money to produce agents to give to you when you don't produce? Please, those of you that are newer to the company, you can have everything in the world given to you if you'll just produce. Right business. Let that business go as you paid. Brett will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars investing in you if you'll produce. That's the coolest thing about this thing. But if you don't, afforders can't trust that you could train anybody because they don't see it. The only proof in the pudding is in what you have going issue paid on the other end. Nothing else matters. So get out there and be good at it. Once you can lead a few, you become regional manager. Now you just duplicate that and repeat. That's when it gets fun. You just duplicate and repeat what you've already done. All too often, people get here to regional manager, and what do they forget to do? They forget to duplicate what they did to get there. You had to produce. We've talked a lot about production. That really shouldn't be the end all be all. Really, what should be the end all be all is get out of the business of insurance and get into the business of building a factory that produces other producers, other managers. But understand that you can't do that unless you produce consistently. And you keep producing consistently for a long period of time. I'm starting to feel my oats a little bit. Dadgummit, I'm 55. And I know some of you are saying, well, shoot, you're just a young buck. Yeah, I am in the grand scheme of things. But I am not in the position where I have consistency enough to be comfortable, to rest on my laurels. And you might be saying, holy hell, Heath is saying he doesn't have enough consistency income-wise to rest on his laurels. If Heath can't, who can? Well, nobody can. No, you don't ever rest on your laurels. You go for it. But there'll be a time when you're making 10, 12, 15,000 a month in just area override. Now, unfortunately, my lifestyle means that I have to be a personal producer, and I need to be a regional producer, and I need to be an area producer. And even with 12, 15,000 a month in just area overrides coming in, I recognize wholeheartedly that if I am not consistently producing, no one's going to listen to me, and no one's going to duplicate, and no one will want to. And I don't blame them. And most of the regional managers here on this call are still at the kind of infancy stage where they just are trying to get that area moving. They've got one other guy that's almost a regional manager, or they've got maybe one or two regional managers in their area, and they're just treading water. I'll tell you what, don't worry about treading water. Just worry about producing. And then that other regional manager, that almost regional manager in your region will say, hey, I don't care. I'm going to go and do what Sue's doing because Sue's winning. I'll make it happen. But Sue's got to keep fighting the battle. Matt, Robert, Rick, we've all just got to keep fighting the battle for production, because the raw material will be given to you as you do that. You're going to find your next Rick Thomas, right, as you're out producing. But if you're not producing, Affordus is not going to give you a chance at the next Rick Thomas or the next Ruth Erdman. No, you won't even get a chance at it because you're not producing. So it all starts with production, but your mentality is, I'm producing so that I can build an area, so that I can build a business. That's it. You're not in the minutia of writing insurance or annuities on a daily basis. You are, but you're not really. No, you are. Well, no, not really. No, what you are in is building a business, which means to do that, you've got to be in the minutia of writing business. You're not really in the business of writing business, but you are. Don't fool yourself, right? Understand both of those. They work hand in hand. They work hand in hand. I hope I didn't confuse you completely with that, but hopefully you got the vision of what I was trying to say.
More effort, less progress, confusion, frustration, wasted energy. One team, one goal, one standard. Do it the Affordus way.
I love that voice. Do it the Affordus way. I love it. Good job. Well, listen, alignment. Are we rowing together? This is the question every regional manager needs to ask themselves. Are we rowing together? Or is every region rowing in kind of a different direction? We cannot improve our numbers if everyone is pulling differently. Alignment reduces effort, increases momentum, and allows us to move faster together than any individual region can. Kind of felt like we've been going in circles because kind of one side of the boat's rowing one way, the other side of the boat's rowing the other way a little bit sometimes. And, we've got a chance though to row in alignment, and great things can happen because of that. We just got to do better. If every RM teaches differently, we can't scale. And that we talked a lot about scaling. If every RM teaches this is where our success is decided. If every RM teaches the same scripts, the same presentations, the same coaching methods, and follows the same operating system, we become scalable. If we continue doing things differently, we limit our growth. And that's why we have system calls with every regional manager on a Monday, right? It's a system call to make sure we're in alignment. We're all rowing in the same direction. And that's very powerful. If we continue to do things differently, though, we limit our growth. Improving our company numbers starts with every leader making the decision to become aligned. If you want to win, if you want to keep putting food on the table, then get in alignment with those that have been there and are in the middle of it and are winning and are being successful. The leadership conference is where we'll build that alignment together and establish the standard for the future of Aforas. A leadership conference, right? That's coming up in just a matter of a few months. You need to be there so that you can more fully fly in formation. Now, one of the things that's very important for us is Aforas Academy. That's where new agents are more likely to succeed. When someone shows them where to begin, you got to walk them through how to get in that academy and where to begin. Explain not just what to complete, but why each module matters to success. There are small points of confusion, become coaching opportunities, right? Use those confusion as coaching opportunities. We don't hand people a login, we personally help them succeed. The academy is more than a training platform, right? It's how we ensure every new agent receives the same foundation. As leaders, don't simply point people to the academy and say, go get them, Tiger. No, walk alongside them in your orientation and show them. Share your screen. Listen, here's where you start. Here's where you go. Here's where you can just get your simple little F&A. That's the first thing you've got to do, right? Type into the search module F&A. And then type in first presentation. And you'll see the script first, but then you'll see all the little videos of first presentations. That's the first stuff you've got to do, right? That's the first stuff. And then you'll be good to go. But walk alongside them, monitor their progress, and reinforce the same lessons through your coaching. So important. And now we've got YouTube, Aforas TV, leadership, culture, one story at a time, right? Increase production by showcasing what works. Improve habits by recognizing consistent activity. Establish standards by demonstrating the Aforas way. Strengthen culture by celebrating people, not just numbers. It's another tool for creating alignment. Every leader, every person has valuable lessons, success stories, and coaching moments that can benefit the entire company. Listen, if in your own regional huddle, you're not doing this already, you're missing the boat. If you're holding a regional huddle where you're not edifying and raising the roof on the success that 1, 2, or 3 agents in your region are having, you're missing the boat. And if you don't have anybody doing anything in your region that's fruitful or successful, you better start doing something yourself. You better start being able to every week share your success story. And then how cool when you share that not only in your region, but you have agents in your region sharing success stories. Nothing feels better than that. Nothing feels better as a regional manager than having 4 or 5 great success stories in the week. But then as you share those with Aforas, that gets put on YouTube, then we share that with the whole world, right? And by sharing those experiences, we're multiplying knowledge instead of keeping it isolated within individual regions. Share it so that we all can learn from it and be edified by it. One piece of that puzzle is your YouTube shorts, right? Short and sweet, under 60 seconds. If you've got a little quick YouTube short that shares a success story, send it to Cuban Dixon right here, or Kirby and Kirby. No need to be freshly made. Do it while you're running, eating, walking. If you got something to share, you feel would help people, make a video and send it over. Check this out.
Can I get lighter? It's hot. Yeah. Where did Ruth go? What?
So guys, anybody, can do this. And I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is that leadership, it's not just about the title. That's easy. But it's about serving others and helping them believe in themselves before they fully believe in themselves.
Ooh, how about that? That's a cool little YouTube quick.
Hey, here's something I picked up in the training in our sales meeting this week. One of my agents, Anthony Taylor, says this when he gets to the bottom of the first. He says, hey, I think I've got everything I need. The easiest thing for us to do is set up a follow-up strategy session over Zoom. I'm going to further explain your retirement to you. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth about your income gap. I'm going to show you some supplemental options available to you. And then we're going to help you build a retirement portfolio. How does that sound to you? He uses it. He has a lot more people show up. I'm going to start using that. Hope you do too.
What a cool quick little video, right? Send it to Kirby and Cumin, and they build a nice little platform around it, and they get to share it with the whole world. Of course, Rick is already sharing this with his region. He's already sharing these cool tidbits with the region, but then we can build a serious company as that gets shared around. Check this one out.
Like if they're all the retirement accounts equal 120%, people like more income or like to be able to retire early. And the more money you have, the more freedom you have. And so I just want to help them get more. So I'm going to point that out every single time that I can. And as soon as I figure out that I can help them with their monthly amount or the money they already have, I don't really care about the other stuff. I want to get another appointment to show them how to do it.
There you go. I love that. Absolutely awesome. So very, very cool. Well, that's the power of what we're talking about, my friends. Just get good at that, and we'll all just be that much better off. Thank you for those of you that have done that already. Tanya Zapata, you are a superstar. I see you being a regional manager by leadership. Let's go get it done. We need Michael Gibbons to be an area manager, right? We need Rick Thomas to be a grandpa area manager. He needs to have some grandkids in the business. But hey, that will make Mike sturdier, safer, stronger, and thus make Rick even stronger, safer, and sturdier, because Mike won't leave the business because he's building a business that's making him some good money, and he's got some babies, right, that are now regional managers. That makes him solid, which makes Rick solid, which guess what? Makes me solid. And guess what? Makes Aforta solid. As we have the Tanya Zapatas coming up in this world, it makes all of us better. Yeah, somehow, some way, Ruth is even better because of Tanya. But as Tanya moves through the system, she'll have others under her that makes her better, which in turn makes Mike better, which in turn makes Rick better, which in turn makes me better, which in turn makes all of us better because we're all making more profits. I love it. I love the system. This is free enterprise. It is building your lifestyle. You eat what you make. You eat what you produce. And I love it. So go do more. Go do more.
So guys,
Nothing's-
anybody,
nobody's holding you
can
back,
do
right?
Retirement
this.
accounts
And
equal 120%. People like more income.
All right. I'm going to pause those puppies. Okay. The flywheel. The flywheel only gains momentum when every part of the operating system is working together, right? Recruiting, training, coaching, leadership development, and alignment all feed one another. When every region, I don't know why I keep skipping. When every region follows the same rhythm, momentum builds and our numbers improve naturally, right? So you onboard someone, you get them to produce, you duplicate. Sorry, my mouse likes to. You duplicate, then you lead as a leader, then you become an RM, you get recruits, and it just duplicates. That's the flywheel, right? That's what we're looking for. That's what you can be having a part of your business. Our mission is to become America's easiest company to duplicate. So let's go do it. Now, Something new, Monday's performance call. Brett will call you after your Monday systems call to review performance. You'll get a weekly performance report. Ryan will prepare and send your weekly performance report. Brett will review the report with you during your Monday call. So this is what we'll call the regional profitability check-in. Each Monday, a forest will review every region's profitability based on issue paid business, appointment costs, recruiting costs, and overall company revenue. If your region falls below the profitability standard, Brett Olson will contact you following your systems call for a brief 5-10 minute discussion. How many of you would like to have a multimillionaire call you and give you guidance? Me, I would like that. Okay. We would die for that. And that's what you get here. Okay. The purpose, though, is to identify the cause, discuss your recovery plan, and ensure your region returns to profitability as quickly as possible. What more could you ask for? I mean, what more? That's so awesome. The goal is not discipline. No, it's proactive coaching to keep every region healthy and growing. Now, listen, if Brett says something to you that might be a little bit hard, or what might be a little bit stern, or maybe a little bit less convenient, don't be a wah-wah. Instead, be a thank you. Thank you for talking truth to me. Thank you for being somewhat brusque with me. I know you're not meaning to be demeaning. I know you're not meaning to be downplaying what I know you're not trying to make me feel bad. Wham, wham, wham. No. Instead, take it as I'm learning from a millionaire. I'm learning from a millionaire. You can't get something better than that. We have got to pull ourselves up. Pull your britches up, tie the belt on, go to work. And if Brett says something to you that maybe is a little bit off kilter and maybe not DEI approved, oh well, you want to make some money? You want to put food on the table? You want to leave a legacy for your family? Then quit being a wah-wah. Just stop it. He's not trying to be mean. No one's trying to be mean here. Brett has built many multimillionaires because they've listened to him. If you want to be in that category, then take what he says and put it to work. He's just trying to get us all to be better and more fruitful, more successful. Okay? Believe it. No doubt about it. That's what he's all about. Just helping us to be more successful, more fruitful. Well, listen, great to be with you. We've gone over time. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any quick questions or thoughts here as we close things out? Any questions? Any deep, indelible thoughts that has come in your mind? Or maybe, Brett, do you want to have anything that you'd like to share or any thoughts?
Hey, I think we all owe a ton to Heath. Heath, I don't know how you put this together with the insight that you had, but you did an amazing, amazing job, brother. Thank you so much. And I am excited about talking with each of you on Mondays. And my only desire is to be extremely positive in a way that will buoy you up and share with you in a way that you can win with a Fortis and make, if necessary, any course corrections so that this next week can be better than your previous week and you can end up winning for you, your family, your wallet, your checkbook. You can have more money than you've ever had before. I am excited to have and be a part of this team and know that you do your part, we'll do our part, and everyone will win. And I'm excited to help everybody do that. Thanks for this incredible meeting. I hope that you will watch it again and again and again. Should we post this to YouTube?
Yes.
Okay. We will do that, and then please watch it. I would ask that you would subscribe to YouTube if you haven't already. Like everything that you possibly can. This is what's going to drive Fortis to where we will attract the best of the best as we put forth the best of the best. as we identify those that are doing the best. A week from Monday, for those that struggle opening up their phone and putting together a 1 minute or less short on the successes you're having, we're going to ask you to be a part of our Fortis TV, and then we will pull out those shorts to put on YouTube to grow our brand. But for those of you that don't, and you catch the vision, like Rick and Errol and Chantravi and others have done on these shorts that they've shared with us, please, if there's something that you're doing right and you go, man, a Fortis needs to know this, please share that with Cumin and Kirby so that we can post it, and then everybody subscribe to YouTube so you'll see those come in, watch them, and make course corrections to your business in real time. That's our goal. Alignment, duplication, scale. One system, one mission, one focus, and we will see you all at the top. Excited to be a part of this. Thank you so much, Heath. You did a superb job on everything you put together here today. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, brother. This has been great. Appreciate you all. Love you. Have a great rest of your Friday. Sharpen the saw. Hope to see you all on Rick's meeting Saturday. Woo, 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 woo. Always so good. And we will catch you later. Thanks, my friends.
See you all. Thank you.
Thanks, Heath.
You
Thank
betcha.
you.
Yeah. See ya.